And let's talk about the mayor of D.C., number 8, Washington Post headline. This is, on one level, very surprising, and one level, not surprising at all. Mayor Bowser, quote, welcomes federal law enforcement presence indefinitely. Bowser issued an executive order Tuesday requiring local coordination with federal law enforcement, quote, to the maximum extent allowable by law within the district. The order gives no expiration date. Steve, as someone who's not a big fan of Donald Trump's use of executive power and a resident of the District of Columbia, how do you feel about what your mayor just did?
I think that I think Democrats need to talk aggressively about what they are doing to fight crime. I think they ought to talk aggressively about the fact that there's a lot of places in this country that have much bigger crime problems than Washington, D.C. or New York or Chicago, and Donald Trump is not doing anything about them. I think they ought to talk about the fact that we have too many guns in this country and that Donald Trump is not doing anything about that.
Well, he is
We ought to go
confiscating
on the
guns, and
offensive and talk about crime.
he is confiscating guns in D.C.
I think we ought to go on the offensive and talk about crime and what we're going to do about it. I think that DC is a special case. It is not like other cities. The federal government has a legitimate role here in many ways, and I think the mayor is just acknowledging that.
Okay, but are you glad that she's accepting an extended role,
Yeah,
or you?
I think this is I think what Donald Trump is doing in DC is performative.
Yeah.
I live in DC. I spend a lot of time here. I walk the streets. I think what he's doing with the National Guard, if you see them, they are not fighting crime at the moment.
Do you dispute, Beverly? Hold on one sec. Do you dispute that the statistics shared by the mayor in the White House that crime has gone down in D.C. since the president's
Crime has been
operation?
going down in DC for quite a while. Crime's been going down in DC. It's been going up in a lot of other places like Shreveport,
Right.
Louisiana, but it has been going down in DC. It's
Right.
never down enough. One crime is too many. We need to fight it. But I don't think that what Trump is doing is the reason why crime is going down.
Okay. Beverly, do you think other mayors, even though it's Steve's right, DC is obviously different, but do you think the mayor of Chicago and the governor, rather than saying stay out, should welcome in federal help as a matter of politics and policy?
Well, first, I think when we're talking about the stats, I do think that, yes, crime has gone down from the ultimate high that we had in 2020 when the mantra of Democrats was to defund the police. It's actually the year that I left DC after 20 years because I didn't feel safe living alone as a woman. When you look at the data, you have to look at the full picture. I agree that DC is a different element altogether because there is constitutional authority of the president to be able to have jurisdiction there. What I like so much about what Muriel Bowser is doing is I hope it actually serves as a model to what we see other mayors do. I hope they look to her and say, she's a Democrat, she still is working with the president, crime is going down, this is good. Because what we have right now, whether it's Chicago or Baltimore, we have a question about process, not whether or not we want crime to decrease. And by the way, if you're a victim of crime, you don't care about the process. You just want things to be safe. But from the libertarian strain of me, I do want to be cautious about the executive having power over states that it doesn't have, because I believe in federalism. So there is a process question here, even though I fully agree that crime is out of control. And I agree with the motive of the president, which is to try to get that decrease. But I think it's a really strong signal from Muriel Bowser. And like I said, I'm hoping that other governors, mayors in Democrat areas actually look to this as the model.
Okay, so one person who doesn't seem to agree with Beverly's view of federalism is the president. Here's the president today saying he's going into Chicago. Number 4, please.
Mr. President, have you decided you're definitely going to send National Guard troops to Chicago?
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when. We're going in. When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation. When 20 people are killed over the last 2.5 weeks and 75 are shot with bullets, there's no place in the world, including you can go to Afghanistan, you can go to places that you would think of, they don't even come close to this. Chicago is a hellhole right now. Baltimore is a hellhole right now. I would love to have him call. I would love the governor of Illinois. I'd be honored to take his call. All he has to do is say, sir, we need help. It's out of control. And everyone knows it is. He's not kidding anyone. I would love to have, I would say, Governor Moore call, because I watched him over the weekend trying to explain that Baltimore, what they need is housing. No, they don't need housing. They need to get rid of the criminals. These are hardcore criminals. You know, we took many people off the streets of Washington, D.C. They're hardcore. They're not going to be good. In 10 years, in 20 years, in 2 years, they're going to be criminals. They were born to be criminals, frankly. They were born to be criminals, and they're tough and mean, and they'll cut your throat, and they won't even think about it the next day. They won't even remember that they did it. And we're not going to have those people.
All right. In reaction to the president, two people who apparently share Beverly's view of federalism responded. This is the governor and mayor, governor of Illinois, mayor of Chicago. Let's roll them first. Number 5, the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson.
We will never be able to end gun violence in Chicago as long as the president continues to allow tens of thousands of guns to be trafficked into our state and our city. The vast majority of guns do not come from Chicago. They are not made in Cook County. They are not bought in the state of Illinois. These guns come from red states. They are coming from Indiana. They are coming from Mississippi. They are coming from Louisiana. And that is the harsh reality, whether Republicans like it or not. Occupying our city will do nothing to solve this problem.
All right, and here's the governor mentioned by the president, Governor Pritzker, also talking about red states. Number 7, please.
Going to hear people, especially this past weekend, 54 shot, 7 dead.
Yeah.
They're going to say the city's not safe. Would you ask your friends to ride the L after midnight or after, 9 o'clock at night even to come down to the city from O'Hare?
Look, big cities have crime. There's no doubt about it. But let's just pay attention to what President Trump is doing targeting Chicago. He's overlooking red states that have much higher crime rates.
Steve, the district court judge in California, I don't believe his ruling applies to Chicago, to Illinois. So what happens now if the president sends National Guard into Chicago, given the posture of the mayor and the governor?
I have no idea what's going to happen. What I do know is that we have a higher homicide rate in Jackson, Mississippi, in St. Louis, Missouri, in Memphis, Tennessee, than we do in any of those cities. And I haven't heard Donald Trump talk about sending troops to those cities. So I don't understand really what he's doing. I mean, I think he would have a lot more credibility if he took the top 5 cities in America with the highest homicide rates and sent troops there. And then you can talk about Chicago, and then you can talk about Baltimore when you're dealing with the problem in places where it's worse before you get to there.
Okay. Beverly, just so you both know, everybody knows that the House committee just released the first batch of Epstein files they've obtained from the executive branch. So we'll let you know as those unfurl whether there's anything to talk about. Beverly, what's your view about the separation here between the state of Illinois, the city of Chicago, and the president's claim that he's going to send the National Guard to Chicago?
I think he will. Again, I have an issue with that from a federalism perspective. I want to see states and localities be able to work within their own area. And so I disagree just from a process standpoint. But I will say this, I think it's very interesting that you now have a narrative of Democrats who want to blame red states. So we've gone from blaming Trump to now it's red states that have caused this. And it reminds me of the basket of deplorables, and we have a pandemic of the unvaccinated. When you blame people from the problems you're responsible for, it's not going to play well. And so I just see Democrats fumbling all over the place, not taking responsibility and accountability, and continue to push the blame elsewhere when people are just saying, we know crime is bad in Chicago. Do what you can to fix that, whether that is putting more money into the police. And by the way, start defunding the police. You wanted to defund the police for so long. Focus on building it up. We haven't had the recruitment that we've needed because police officers were looked at poorly for the past 4 years. So I would like to see a building up and taking accountability in these cities, but yet I don't think that's what we're seeing.
I'd like to fund more police. I'm all for funding more police. I just don't think the National Guard are the people who should be fighting crime. I think there should be a very clear line between the use of military and using local resources and giving the locals more resources. And I do think we have to talk about guns. Wherever they're coming from, we have too many guns in this country. I know some people don't like to hear that, but it is a fact. and we need to do something about it.
Steve, what are the causes of crime in America?
There's, Mark, there's a lot of causes of crime in America.
Yeah.
There's economic causes of crime. There's social causes of crime. There's availability of guns causes of crime. And again, I'm not saying that St. Louis or Mississippi or any of these states are to blame. I'm just saying they have problems too, and I don't understand why we aren't trying to help them as well. If we want to do something about crime in American cities, we should be doing it everywhere, and we shouldn't be doing it with federal troops. We should be doing it with federal resources to help local police forces deal with their local problems.
But first, reminder that Cozy Earth is a sponsor of this show, and a reminder: three things. Let's unmute Jim Malmstrom. Jim, unmute. Tell me, Jim, what are the three top things you look for in clothes when you're buying clothes? Jim, can you unmute? I need a foil. Jim, what are the top three things you look for when you're buying clothes? Number one,
they got to fit.
Good fit. Yeah. Number two,
they got to make me look younger.
Make you look good. Yeah. And number three, you can say cost. You can say cost.
Cost.
Right? You don't want, yeah. Okay. Perfect answers, because Cozy Earth clothes. The bedding is great too, but I'm talking, as I almost always do, about the pants, the shirts. They're so comfortable. They look great. You can wear them anywhere. Casual. The pants just, they're like a magic cloak. You can wear them anywhere. They look fine on the beach. They look fine at a fancy engagement. And right now they're also on sale. If you use the code TWOWAY, go to CozyEarth.com and put in the code TWOWAY, 40% off. Not all of you have taken me up on my recommendation. Go try them. Try the pants, gentlemen. Try the pants. Take my word for it. Built for real life, made to keep up with yours. Cozy Earth recommended.